Okay. I'm going to be making this recording for anybody that is thinking about joining us for any of the future TTS leagues. So this one is going to be focused on creating your army lists for the 40K section of that. When using the Tabletop Simulator app for our TTS leagues, you're going to need a couple of things. First one is going to be access to New Recruit, which I currently have up on the screen right now. New Recruit is a free app to use. It's a third-party army building software. It's pretty intuitive to use, but it can be somewhat confusing for the first-time user. So we're going to open it up, and I'm going to show people what they need to do for that. So I'm going to go to, and as I use each app, I'm going to call out where you can get them and how you have access to them. So first off, this New Recruit, it is just newrecruit.eu. It is a web-based browser app, so you can just freely use it that way, whatever web browser you want to use. Now this is going to be able to make your list, and then you're going to export it from the New Recruit into the next program we're going to use. So I'll cut this up into two videos. The first one's going to be army creation. That'll include making your list, and it'll include getting the models for it. Then I'll end, and I'll start an app on how to use the actual map software. So first off, let's click Create List. Very straightforward. Under here, you're going to be able to choose your faction. So for a quick one, let's choose Chaos. Let's do Tutorial, and we'll make a 2,000 point list. This will be an army roster, and then let's pick Chaos Knights. So I'm going to create list. So in here you're going to see a bunch of red exclamation points. Every one of these is letting you know that that section of the army is not legal currently. So for this one, we're going to go to battle size. Pretty straightforward. We're going to select right here on the right side, strike force. After that, that's going to disappear. We go down to detachment. So for this, I'm going to pick, let's just pick Compact Lance. I'm going to throw a bunch of War Dogs together. Now we can see as this goes, all of those are now gone. Next, we're going to go down to here. We need a character to lead our army. For this particular detachment, one of the interesting things is normally your War Dogs in a Chaos Knight army do not have the character keyword. This detachment allows you to give that to you. So I'm going to go ahead and add a stalker. As you can see, some more warning lights. These are always going to be able to tell you that something's wrong. If you hover over it, it will tell you what you need to do in that one. So I'm going to click on this, and then all of your options for this model are going to be over on the right hand side, if there are any options. So for this, we'll select character. Once that's done, it'll give you the option to anoint that as a warlord. So now we'll see that the other exclamation point is now gone. And we're into the next one. So I'll go ahead and just select some options that I like for these. Now, one of the things you can do is this will show you a rundown. When you click the eyeball, it'll show you a rundown of that particular data sheet. This will give you all of the weapon profiles, the units profiles. It'll also give you any of the rules that they have. Now, if you click this drop down, it'll expand and give you a further explanation of that model's rules. So this is just going to show you everything. Right here, it'll show me the models that I have, not the models, the weapon profiles that I've selected for this particular unit at this time. Next, this is the duplicate unit. So if I click on this, it's going to create an exact copy of that right adjacent to it. It'll copy it in every way, shape, or form. So I've gotten a new error, and that's because this is a warlord and it can only have one. So I uncheck that, we're back down. This yellow exclamation point is just denoting that in this particular detachment, I'm required to have 3 characters. Since I haven't met that requirement yet, there you go. So I can duplicate again. Now at this point, again, warlord. Now, one of the other things you can do is if you're done and you don't like it, you can just select delete, which is the trash can. Pretty self-explanatory. So now I currently have 3 War Dog Stalkers. They all have the character keyword. If I wish to give them an enhancement, just clicking on one of them, there'll be a drop down here for that. So I'm going to go ahead and add a couple more. We have the Brigand, which is right here. The Brigand is going to have that. So we'll just duplicate him. Then we're going to have the Carnivore. Here, he's going to have that. And then let's add the Executioner. He's fine the way he is. So grab 2 of that. Grab 1 more Stalker. Alright, we'll fix this. So now you can see right up here, I have no more exclamation points. My list is currently at 1980 for points out of my 2000. This will just show me as a quick summary that I'm 20 points under. This is the point where you can add enhancements and all that other stuff if you wish to add them. They're going to be under the units themselves. If you have units that can be increased in size, whether you're talking about like Space Marine Intercessors, all of that's going to appear here on the right hand side. It'll give you the option to tick up the number of models if there's special weapons. The one thing I can say is if you add a special weapon, that'll count the model. So when you add that gun, it'll come with the guy. You're going to just have to tick it down somewhere else. But this will give you all sorts of like markers to let you know that something's wrong. So next thing we can do is, if you want, we can go to export. Now when we export, this is how we're going to remove and put our list into the software that we need to do. So we're going to use Yellow Scribe. So you click on Yellow Scribe. I recommend saving the army list too. I've now copied my code to the clipboard. So next we're going to go into Tabletop Simulator. And let me go back to the game here. And this is the Force Org. Force Org is the software that we use to create our actual army lists. So for anybody that's interested in how to attain this, this is going to be through the Steam Workshop. So what we do is, going into the Steam Workshop, I'm going to go into here for info, and this is what we're looking at. So Force Org, and all of these things are going to be listed in the document when you go to join our TTS League. We actually have all of these assets listed down so that players can find them simply, but for the purposes of this video, this is what you'll find. This is by a content creator named Raiko. You're going to go and search for Force Org right here, and it'll come up in the Steam Workshop. You subscribe to it, and then that will automatically download it. These are regularly updated from my experience, usually when units are introduced to the game. Once players have wide access to the models, they'll get 3D uploaded, so usually it's about 2 weeks behind. So once you have access to the Force Org, we're going to be in this software right here. Now this is very straightforward. What you do is we're going to select the army. So they have it by grouping, so we have our Chaos on the left-hand side. Our Imperium is in the top of the page, right up here, all of our Imperium armies, and then down here on the side is going to be your Xenos. So for this purposes, we're looking at Chaos Knights, so we're going to click Load Models, and then that's going to populate all of the three-dimensional models that we have access to for this. Now, each one of these models has no data sheet associated to them currently, so the next thing we're going to do once we have our models picked up, we're going to click down in the center here. It says Launch Yellow Scribe. So it's going to give you an option to paste your code. We're going to go ahead and do that. And then now it's going to upload into this program all of the units that we made our army with. It's going to give us access to this right here. These little white cards, these are effectively going to be the data sheets that are going to be associated with the models that we choose. So we already know that we're going to take a Carnivore. So we're going to go ahead and take this guy. Now you can either clone it or copy it. If you're using multiple models and you're going to highlight multiple at the same time, I recommend doing copy. Clone will just have you pick up one. You're going to choose and take your models and drop them right down here. This is a Brigand. So Brigands, we're going to go, and there's a couple of, even though they're equipped the same way in a lot of cases, they just give you some alternate looks for the models. depending on how you fancy it. So again, clone from a brigand. Over here, this is the executioner. Go ahead and clone the executioner. And these are the stalkers. And then some of the models will have a state when you right click on them. So this can go ahead and change their visual look in case you have a preference there. It's also nice in case you're trying to get a couple of different models that look different from each other during the course of the game. And that will stick with them no matter what you do with the model. So you'll be able to come back to this later and, go ahead and change it during the course of a game if you wanted to. So now once we have our unit selected over here on the staging zone on the right hand side of the map, we're going to go ahead and left click on a data card. Now when we left click on that, we're going to be going over here in order to associate it with that model. So once you left click, then you right click, that's going to be this model will now go associated with this. Again, this is a, that was a brigand. So if you make the mistake of clicking the wrong one, no problem. Click it again, and you can go ahead and boom, brigand, boom. Now you don't need different models for this. If you are selecting, say for example, Astra Militarum, and you have a unit of guardsmen, even though you have 3 times appearing over here, you can go ahead and just have one 10-man unit of guardsmen and associate it with each one of these cards. This is about associating the rules with the model. It's not about actually having an individual model represent everything, because this is going to go ahead and create a copy of the model with the rules over on the left-hand side when we're done. So we only need one over here. Again, we go brigand and go down, brigand, executioner, executioner, carnivore, carnivore, stalker. So this is pretty boring at this point because it's for this particular army, it's very, very simple. I'm just going over and hitting it. So now I've gone and associated all of the models together. Once you've gone and done that, we're going to go ahead and click Create Army. And here we go. This is now all of the models that I have selected with the associated keywords. And as I said before, some of these that have the state-based option, you should persist over here. I'm not going to bother looking for the example though. But now all of these are here. So if I hover over it, I'm going to go ahead and see that I now have a stat block that is associated with that model that's appearing on screen. Whereas these guys over here, they don't have that. It's just this. If you are hovering over your model, you can go ahead and click 1 on your numpad, and it's going to bring up effectively what is a data sheet. So it's going to show everything that's associated with this particular model. Keywords will be up here at the top. And if there's anything added like enhancements or anything like that, it's going to appear here. This also gives you some options for faction dice, stratagems, and if you wanted to bring the data sheets. But at this point, they're already associated with the model, so you won't really need to bring the data sheets. That's just more if you want to do that, because your opponent's going to be able to hover over these, see the information there. If they want a further explanation of what like the executioner ability is on this War Dog executioner, they're going to go ahead and hit 1, and it'll say each time this model makes an attack that targets a unit that's below half strength, you add 1 to the hit roll. So they'll be able to access this during the course of the game, very simply. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and save our army. So what we want to do is we want to highlight all of the models. Then we're going to right click. Then we're going to go down from the top here all the way down to Save Object. We click on that, and we're just going to say Tutorial Army. So now we've saved that. So with this is Army construction completely done. Quick, like 14-minute video. This is all you need to do. Now, a couple other things that you can do in here, just because it was very short. You can go into here and search for a model if you wanted to, and this will highlight the model for you. Let me see if I can grab one. So this is the despoiler. So let's use the despoiler as an example. So we're going to go ahead, highlight model. So if you weren't really sure what you were looking for, boom, this has highlighted that model because I entered Knight Despoiler. And do that with any of the models here as long as you know the name of the model. Over here we have the Knight Ruinator. So again, anything new, they usually highlight it right down here with a little new model marker. And you'll be able to take that. Some of these do have like the ability to get different dual wielding weapon options and things like that for the visual aesthetic. But again, if for whatever reason you don't want to be bothered by that and you just want to have the model on the table with the visual of this, once the rules are associated with it, your opponent's going to be able to hover over that and have that told to them immediately. So it's not necessarily essential. So I'm going to end this video here. This is, once again, army construction. For this, you just need New Recruit, which is a web-based army builder that's free to use. It's a third-party system, not associated with GW. And that's going to allow you to export using the yellow scribe code that it gives you. And then you're going to come in here to the Force org. That's right here in the center by Ryko. And once you have that access, you're going to have all these models in here. If at any point you want to clear the table, clear zone, and you can go ahead and open up any number of other things. So I would clear the zone once you have your models down here, because you'll notice these models persist. So if you're using something like Imperial Agents, you're going to need to clear out some of the models to make room for the allies that you want to bring in. This is also true if you're using knights with any of the Chaos armies, anything like that. All right, so I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Thank you.